Namaskar, ladies and gentlemen. Kushi Maha Navami. That means hello and happy Maha Navami. There's actually not a translation for that name. Today is also Rama Navami for Vaishnava Hindus. Today is considered, actually, two very important things happened today. The first one, I'm going to start with the most auspicious and then move on to the one that's a little darker in nature. Today is today is the birthday of Lord Rama, Shri Rama. And it's a very auspicious holiday in India, especially in the southern states of Tamil Nadu and oh my goodness, I cannot remember the name of the other state, but I know it's also a very big deal in Maharashtra and really all throughout India. Very important for the descendants of the indentured servants who were forced to South Africa and other British colonies during the forced famine that the British created in the early 1900s. Today is also considered the birthday of truth, purity, and happiness. Aspects that Lord Rama, who was the seventh avatar of Vishnu, represents. So that's like we'll call it lively aspect of today. And then the darker aspect, and I only say darker because you'll see why. Today is also called Maha Navami. And today is also considered the last day of the assault that Ma Durga took against the buffalo-like demon Mahishasura. Dear God, I hope I said that right. But essentially, the goddess Durga, who is, from my understanding, an avatar of Parvati, took her fierce form and led an assault against this demon king, Mahishasura. And so again, I'm really sorry if I mixed up some of the names. I only recently started learning this and I wanted to share this. So again, I'm really sorry. I don't mean any disrespect. Quite the contrary. Even though I'm not Hindu, I do have a very different practice and belief in spirituality and religion. It's very unorthodox. I don't share it with my friends and family. It's actually very private. But the only reason I'm mentioning that today is a very auspicious holiday throughout the Hindu world, and that I mentioned that it was Lord Rama's birthday, and it was also the day of victory of Ma Durga finally defeating the Buffalo King demon, the Demon King. I mentioned that because in both aspects, whether you're looking at the way people celebrate for Rama and the people celebrate for Durga, they're very meaningful to me, even though I'm not Hindu. Why? Because today is also a day where a lot of people take the time to just reflect on themselves morally, especially for devotees of Durga. They look at what do I need to do in my life that, what is the Mahishasura that I have slay? What am I doing in my life that I need to take this time to see what I need to fix in my life? What do I need to slay and purge completely so that I can feel better? Not just physically, forget about the physical aspect, mentally and spiritually. What do I have to do? I know that there's a lot of celebrations going on throughout India and with the Indian diaspora throughout the world. I really don't know what I'm trying to say here. And I've been ranting for 5 minutes. Well, I guess I'll just go out and say it. To me, this is a very special day because for the last few years, I've been having a bit of an identity crisis in the sense that I grew up in a very strict, extremely strict, overzealous Catholic home. We were raised in the kind of Catholic home where liturgical Latin was a must. We did the rosary. We did the hymns. We did the candles and everything that you can think of when you think of the crazy Catholics. That's the world I was raised in. And then a few years ago, my parents did a complete transformation. My mom encountered a religious group through YouTube, actually, of all places, that has a very puritanical Hebraic flavor. I'm going to put it like that because I don't want to get tagged for hate speech or whatever. I'm talking about a cult. I'm not talking about the actual religion and traditions of the Jewish faith. I'm just talking about this cultic group that is based in central Mexico and performs their operations, the bulk of their operations on the internet. So that being said, I was raised very Catholic. My parents joined this group, and then suddenly everything I had grown up with, everything that I considered holy, everything that was the glue binding what little faith I had completely unraveled, because my family suddenly came out with, you can't have pictures of the saints, you can't have pictures of the Virgin, you can't even have pictures of Jesus himself. Even the name Jesus in this cult is taboo. You don't say Jesus. They say something else in Hebrew, I guess. I don't know. Again, I don't really have any interest in that. But that really affected me mentally. Especially because I was going, well, I still kind of am, but I was going through really difficult things on a personal level. And I felt like I couldn't even make the most basic prayer because suddenly, my family, who has I'm Mexican, I'm the oldest daughter. My family has a very heavy influence in, I guess, in the way that I choose to do things. Not so much anymore, but, especially a few years ago, that was still very much the case. And so suddenly, literally, my entire religion, my entire spirituality, my way of life was considered demonic. It's bad. All of it's evil. You need to purge it from your life. I didn't. I did get rid of my crystal rosary, which I do regret, but I digress. I don't consider myself an adherent to Rome. I don't do or follow anything that the current Pope says. He is not a man of God. Most pastors and priests, what have you, are not men of God. They're there for other reasons. They're corrupt. Just like this cult leader that told my parents, that all of our faith and everything was wrong. And so I literally had nothing to go to. I felt very empty. But one thing that I continued to do is study Sanskrit and Hindi. And while I was studying these two languages, both of them very old, I actually think that Sanskrit is probably one of the oldest languages that exists in mankind, if not the oldest, is what I personally believe. You figure it out on your own and you decide if that's actually the case. But as I was learning Hindi and Sanskrit, I came across a lot of philosophical documents, discourses, people sharing their experiences, their beliefs. And something about the way Hindus in general perform, or rather practice their faith, inspired me. It made me think, well, why am I so secretive, so closeted in the way that I practice my faith? Why can't I be like them, where they literally sing and dance for joy in the streets when they have darshan, of their gods or their god, depending on the person. And that's why I decided, you know what? There are a lot of things that I'm discovering and relearning through my Hindu brothers and sisters, by learning their languages, that makes me want to take that control back of my life in that sense. And I feel like today, it being Ramanavami, Mahanavami, is a good day. We have the birth of a holy being who represents, again, truth, happiness, and purity. And then you have a female, beautiful and strong, and yet ferocious and protective, defeating the ultimate embodiment of evil. And I think that that's actually something very special. And we don't have holidays like that in Judeo-Christianity. And what holidays we do have been completely removed from what they were originally supposed to be. Everything is about consumerism and, let's call it for what it is, vapid idolatry. People are more concerned with how they're going to impress others on Christmas, which is supposed to be the day of the birth of our Savior. And we don't have any discussion at all whatsoever about what that represents. A child being born onto the earth to defeat evil. Nobody talks about that. Not in the West. That does not happen. We talk about, oh, did you see what so-and-so got so-and-so and how much it cost? Did you see so-and-so's engagement ring? That must have been super expensive. We talk, absolutely nothing fulfilling, nothing that matters. And that kind of futility is what I'm trying to get rid of in my life. I don't want to have these attachments to materialistic things that can be replaced. Things that when I die, I'm not going to be able to take with me. I'm going to go in that coffin naked by myself, the way I came out of my mother, naked and by myself, covered in blood, no less. But again, there's also other things that I've been struggling with, which I'm not going to get into here. But I feel like the things that I'm not going to describe here, the things that I'm not going to talk about over here are, that is my buffalo demon king for me to slay. And yeah. So that's what I'm thinking about on today on Maha Navami. And the only reason that I use the name Maha Navami more than Rama Navami is because I actually don't know too much about Lord Rama, but I know a lot about Ma Durga. As a matter of fact, my favorite strotam of all time is a hymn dedicated to Ma Durga. And the name of that hymn, if you want to look for it, is Aigiri Nandi. And not, oddly enough, I didn't know this until, well, today. And yeah, today, that my favorite strotam is about Durga defeating the demon king. And I think that that's not a coincidence, you know. I do believe that there is a supreme power. Forget about Judeo-Christianity and what they believe. Forget about what all sects of Hinduism have in common and what they believe. Forget about all of that. None of that religious sect doctrine. Just from a purely philosophical and spiritual standpoint, I do believe in a supreme being that's omnipotent and omniscient. And that force is so great that it's not anything that our little mortal corrupt forms, because I do believe that mankind as we are like this, we're corrupt. Something happened that we're not right. Something's not right with us. But I believe that supreme being came before everything, and it created everything we know, even the evil things. And I also believe that that being created all of the gods that we humans worship, whether you're Christian or Jewish or Hindu or Zoroastrian. At the end, all of us are looking for the truth. God is truth. Truth is God. And God is that supreme power that created and binds the universe. And that's one thing that I'm reflecting on today. And I hope that you guys will also think about maybe a spiritual or mental void that you have in your hearts, and you'll use today, because at least where I am right now, and I think I'm like a day behind India. I'm in the Atlanta area. But I think that today is a very good day, regardless of what you believe, to take the time to look at yourself, what you're missing, what you feel like there's a void in your heart, and taking action, definite action to slay whatever plagues your heart. And that is what I'm observing today on this Maha Navami. Again, much happiness, blessings. I hope all of y'all have a beautiful day today. Thank you for listening.